with you guys. Today's the day. We have made it to Election Day 2024. We made it here. We lived to see it, and we're in the heat of the moment. So I hope everyone is doing good. I hope everyone is feeling it today. We had a great crowd waiting. We had a pretty big waiting room this time. I've been sitting there reading the comments. We had 102 people waiting before we got started. Haven't seen that many in a while, but I know everybody is probably like me in that you're a big ball of nerves today. I know I am, and had so many of my friends texting to say that they voted, and that's awesome to hear. I early voted this year, first time ever doing so, and so I still have some friends, though, that decided to get up and go to the polls today, and so hope everyone had a good time doing that and felt good about it, because I sure did when I got my ballot in place. And so yeah, here we are, folks. It is Election Day 2024, and we're just going to sit here and get through it today. How's that sound? I'm glad everyone could make it. I started doing these daytime shows, and I've been doing them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I didn't realize a while back that would mean that that would be on Election Day. So here we are. May go live later tonight, and I'm really hoping that we just see I really hope we see a blowout, folks. That's what I'm really pulling for. Here in Tennessee, we call it a good old fashioned East Tennessee dog whooping. That's what I want to see put on Donald Trump tonight. So yeah, it's gonna be great. Hope everyone is doing good. I've had some videos that I got out yesterday, and really haven't made any today, because it's just kind of like, here we are now. We're in that moment. And so let me see if I can get my volume up just a little bit. I went on a trip. Let me know how that sounds. I went on a trip, and I'm just getting back and getting everything hooked back up. So maybe I didn't have my volume all the way up. That's a good point. Yeah, I've got it turned up. See how that sounds. Let me know if it's sounding okay now. I'll get in my settings here and adjust. But there we go. All right. Yeah, like I said, I went on a trip, and I took my stuff with me. And so I'm just getting back and getting it set up. All right. Let me know how that works. Sounding good, some says? Okay. Awesome. And these comments are flying by really fast. We got a good crowd in here already. And so I'm glad you guys are here with me. But I went on a trip. I went out to California and visited. Had a great time out there, and took my stuff with me. So while I was out there, I'm sure I've moved some buttons around on my flight back home. But we should be good in the saddle now. So yeah, folks, here we are. It's time to really get out there. If you guys haven't voted already, let me know. If you're on your way to vote, let me know what you've done so far. I got my early voting in, and that way I just wanted to be home on this election day. This one hit completely different to me. I've said in videos that this one just feels completely different. It doesn't feel like any election that I've ever followed, and I've followed them all as long as I've been alive. I don't ever remember not following a presidential election. The first one that I remember, I was born in 1980, so I don't remember. Obviously, I don't remember that one, and I don't remember 1984. But I do remember 88. I remember Bush and Dukakis, and I can remember, both my grandfathers were Republicans, but my mother was a Democrat. Her mom was a Democrat, and politics was just always talked in our home growing up. It was just something that we always talked about. So at a very young age, I started following elections, and I can remember Bush and Dukakis plain as day. And then I remember Bush and Clinton even better. And I followed everyone ever since. The first one that I ever had the opportunity to vote in was I cast my vote in the year 2000 for Al Gore, and we all know how that went. I ended up disappointed, and if I'm being honest with you, I cried conspiracy theory for a little while. I cried that it was rigged. I cried that it was bullshit. But eventually I realized that I just had to put my big boy pants on and vote again in 2004. And guess what happened? I got disappointed all over again. And I never will forget in the 2004 election, I remember thinking, okay, in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, all the people that voted for Bush in the year 2000, they're pissed over that whole fiasco. They're not going to vote for him again. He's pissed off all these other people. And I thought to myself, John Kerry is definitely a better candidate. At least I thought so. And then I got my heart broke all over again. It wasn't until 2008 before I finally had a presidential election go my way. So I definitely know what it feels like to lose some, and I definitely know how I was feeling in 2016. But this election is unlike any that I've ever seen, in the sense that I've never seen anyone just go out there and it's as though he's almost trying to purposely lose. I've never seen one where it's like he's just trying to, it's almost like he's throwing the fight to me. Because I've never seen anyone that has done nothing to bring anyone in. He's not done anything to rein in any new voters. He's not done anything to pull in independents. He's not done anything to pull in the people who are abandoning the Republican Party and telling him so. So I've never seen anything like it. Most people who, if you go back, you just stop and think back, ever since he came down that escalator, all the things he's said and done. At no point did he ever try to do damage control. At no point did he ever try to back up and say, I need to clean up my image at all. And there's people that's done way less that went out and tried to do damage control. Going back to John Kerry, I remember one of the things that hurt him back then, wouldn't hurt Trump today if he said it, but one of the things that hurt John Kerry was they asked him why that he voted for the Iraq War. And now if you oppose it now, why did you vote for it to start with? And his response was, well, I had no idea he was going to fuck things up this bad. He used that word, and oh my God, he don't have the temperament to be president, And then Kerry goes out there for a while, kind of like he's on damage control, trying to recover from dropping an F-bomb. Look at all the receipts we brought lately. Look at all the videos that I've made and all the other people have made and put out there of all the things he said, from the threats to Liz Cheney's life, the threats to the press. I mean, all the things he's just went over the top and said. And when someone points out to him that people are leaving his party, leaving him in the dust, it's like any cult leader, he just sicks the cult on him. So I've never seen an election like this one. This one's a first for me, and I've never seen anything like it. So it's going to be a long day. And my son spent the night with me last night. He normally sleeps in, but wouldn't you know it, this morning he was up at like 6 o'clock, just bouncing off the walls. And I was like, I really needed a few more hours this morning. I really could have used a few more hours before I woke up and faced this day. But we're here now, and there's no turning back. Yeah, you're right. He threatened Michelle Obama. It's just so many things this guy's done, and he's never tried to do 1 ounce of damage control. He's still out there just going for it. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I want to give a shout out to Jess. She's moderating, and we got a big crowd in here, so it kind of reminds me of my days playing in the bars when we had to hire a few more bouncers. We definitely may need some more bouncers later if it ends up being that blowout that I'm hoping is going to be. There'll be a lot of people melting down. So yeah. Someone just asked the question, why does he get away with all this stuff? Well, I missed that one. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. Why does he get away with all this stuff? That's a great question. That's the question that I'll be asking myself when I'm an old man just sitting on the front porch watching the wheels go by. I'll be going, how in the hell did he get away with all that stuff? I think he appeals to a group of people who loves to be the victim in the story, even though they're not. They love the victimhood mentality, that everything's rigged against them. I'm not really trying to talk down to them or about them at this point, but it's just like they can't get where they want to in life, and they have to have someone to blame. And they go to church every Sunday, and they're taught that Democrats are evil. Democrats are the world's worst, and so that must be the problem. It must be Democrats. It must be people coming across the border. It must be black people. It must be gay and trans people. It can't be them. And I think he gets by with it. We used to say on the channel, and I used to say a lot of times, they give him a pass for these things, until finally we realized, no, it's not that they're giving him a pass for it. They love him for it. They love the fact that he's cruel. They love the fact that he's a racist and an asshole. They love the threats that he made. And they love seeing us get pissed off about it more so than anything else. I mean, it's about owning the libs to them. They don't own us at all. They don't, it's not the flex they think it is. But in their minds and in their world, they're always fighting this battle, and we're the enemy. So I think that's part of the reason why that that he keeps going and keeps getting away with it. I also want to say a shout out to Vol Queen if she's helping out today. We do appreciate you too with the moderation. Yeah, it's going to be a long day, folks, and I may be back later tonight. I probably will be back later tonight. Coach D may join me as well. We've sat and talked about it in the past, and we've said that we didn't know for sure if we would be able to go live because we're going to be a ball of nerves tonight. But then the Vol Queen made a great point, and Jess has made this point to me, and several people have, that tonight's the night that people are going to need to come together more than ever, regardless. So we'll probably be back later tonight. I'm not sure exactly what time yet, but we'll see how the day goes. One thing that's pretty cool, some pretty cool news, at least it is, and it may not sound like cool news to people it's not in East Tennessee, but my daughter sent me a picture a while ago of a pretty good-sized Kamala Harris sign outside of my son's middle school, which is huge for this part of the world. That's like never been seen. That school always has political signs out front, and they're always Republican. I've never seen a Clinton sign out there. I've never seen a Biden sign. I've never seen an Obama sign ever. And that the fact that there was a Kamala Harris sign in East Tennessee at that school, I was like, holy crap, that was a pretty big deal. And it's funny, I'm sure they wouldn't mind me telling this. I had 2 friends message me. 2. It was so weird, and from different parts of the country, like they don't even know each other. And they both messaged me to tell me that their moms had told them they had voted for Kamala, and their moms hadn't voted Republican before. So that was something that was pretty uplifting. Like, dang, So it's starting to happen. What does they say on Almost Famous? It's all happening. It's all happening. So here we are, and I hope everyone is doing good. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and if you feel like leaving a comment, go for it. If not, you can drop a blue heart. It just helps to boost the algorithm. Hey, glad Coach D's here. Man, I wish if I'd have known, I'd have sent you a link. You could have came live with me, but it's great to see you. I'll probably see you later tonight, man. We're getting cornered, Coach. They're corners into doing this whether we like it or not. I think we're just going to have to buy the ticket and take the ride, man. We're just going to have to be here and come together. So I probably will go live later tonight. I'm just not exactly sure yet what time we'll go, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Everybody let me know where you're from, and if you've voted or not, or if you're on your way to the poll. I know we got a lot of people in the house today, 2,000 people. So yeah, Coach, if you're still in here, man, we'll definitely have a hell of a crowd tonight. That's for sure. Someone just said, do you think Trump has something up his sleeve? I don't think I'm going to be able to catch these comments are going by so fast today. I don't know if I can catch them. I'm not that fast. But someone said, do you think that Trump will have a trick up his sleeve if he loses? Of course he's going to have all kinds of shit up his sleeves, and I think he's going to try to pull everything out of his sleeves and just throw it at the wall and see what sticks. But you got to remember that all the things he tried back in 2020, he couldn't pull it off, and he was the sitting president. This go around, Joe Biden is the sitting president, and I think if he tries the things he tries, I don't think he's going to get far with it. It may cause us to be a ball of nerves for a few more weeks. We may, end up having to sweat it out a little bit longer. But you got to remember that Joe Biden is the sitting president. Joe Biden also, and I would like to say this to Joe Biden, you got full immunity. You've got full immunity for official acts. So if they try to overthrow our democracy, you can step up and save the day. So I think that I think he will definitely try things. He'll definitely scream things and yell a lot, but I don't. Yeah, someone just said Joe won't allow any bullshit, and that's kind of how I feel. If he couldn't pull it off as a sitting president, I don't necessarily see how that he could pull it off. I don't know how he could pull it off now. Someone voted in Utah. That's awesome. Omaha, Nebraska, a blue dot there. That's cool. North Carolina. Awesome. I'm so glad from Seattle-ish. Okay. You know what's funny, here in East Tennessee, it's kind of you have to either say Knoxville or Cumberland Gap. If you say anything in the middle, no one knows where it's at. So I was born in Tazewell. It's spelled. It looks like Tazewell on paper. My Google map says Tazewell, and I'm like, no, it's Tazewell. But anyway, yeah, that's where I was actually born. But you say Tazewell, and no one knows where that's at. And then you have to say Knoxville, and then you have to say north of there. And the only thing that happens, though, around here when you say Cumberland Gap, there's so many gaps around here. There's Pennington Gap, there's Bulls Gap, there's, all these different gaps. So then it's like, is that near Pennington Gap? And I'm like, listen, all the gaps ain't necessarily side by side. There's some distance between us. No, this is the Cumberland Gap. This is where we're at. But, yeah, you just have to kind of, around here, it's pretty comical trying to tell people where you're from. Because if you don't say Knoxville, Nashville, Chattanooga, Memphis, if you don't say that, you're kind of screwed. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing good. I had a friend text and ask when they'll start counting. Well, I know some states start counting pretty early. I know Kentucky usually. I was talking to a friend earlier. Kentucky usually wraps theirs up pretty quick. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's going to be an insane day today, folks, and we're just going to have to be here and plow through it. So yeah, hope everyone is doing good. Like I said, if you haven't already, hit the like button, share it with your friends if you want to. I'm going to be here for about another 45 minutes at least, and then I'll probably be back later on in the day. I'll let you guys know a time. I'll make a post, let you know when I'm coming back. Or we may just do a break-in and just come in, and hopefully we'll be, I don't know. It's wishful thinking that it'll get called early. I have a feeling we may be in for the long haul. But if it were to be called early, if it's the landslide we're hoping for, then someone just said voting ends at 6 p.m. in Kentucky. Yeah, and I know they're usually one of the first states that comes in. So I'm sure we'll start seeing some. Someone said it's too early to start drinking. I've already thought of that. If I'm going to go live, I can't start drinking now. You don't need the drunken Tennessee Brando election show, because it just depends, like if you had the drunken Tennessee Brando show with Kamala as the winner, that would be completely unhinged and off the rails. It would definitely be unhinged and off the rails if it went the opposite way. So yeah, everybody pace yourself. Drink plenty of water and stay hydrated. That's the best thing I can say. Try to. I literally, right before I got in this chair, I brought my bottle of water and I took my vitamins. No joke. I just got done taking my vitamins before I got in this chair. So I'm going to hold off on the alcohol because again, if it started going the opposite way, I might snowball, and we sure don't need that. I don't need to be like Hank Jr. live. It's. And anyone that's ever heard that album knows what I'm talking about. Jeez, he put that out. And we thought it was cool when we was teenagers. We tried to emulate it. What morons we were. But, yeah, hope everyone is doing good. Someone said, why would anyone wait till the last day to vote? Well, I'll be honest with you. This is a good question. Why would anyone wait till the last day to vote? Well, I'll be honest with you, Rob. I always waited till the last day to vote before this election. I just did. I just liked being there in the moment. It's election day. I cast my vote. I just preferred it that way, and a lot of people still do. But this go around, I just felt the need to do it early and get it over with and be home and be here with you guys and just, hang out. So no matter how you vote, early or today, whichever way you go about it, get your vote in, be on the side of democracy, and let's have a good day, because I really think that we can. And so yeah, thank you guys for being here, and thank you guys for making my day. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, checking out some of these comments, and we'll just sit here and I'll be Coach D will probably be back with me later, I would imagine. Said he had a class in 15 minutes. But I actually got to meet Coach D. For those of you that didn't see that, there is a live out there floating around of he and I. We got to meet and hang out. And it was super, super cool. It was super cool to meet Coach, because I've got to meet a couple of content creators over the years. There's still quite a few, though, that I haven't met. It's funny. There's people I talk to on a daily basis and still haven't met. I haven't met Superman Todd, and he's just over in Bowling Green, Kentucky. He's just about 2.5 hours from me, maybe. I haven't ever met him. I passed through Bowling Green one day and was like, "Hey, dude, I'm in Bowling Green. Where you at?" And he was out of town. But I've met Hawk that I did the podcast with, and I met Coach D. It's always cool when you get to meet fellow content creators, people that does what we do. And I got to meet John Brado. I did do a live with him. He actually came here to my house, and we sat down and did it together at my kitchen table, and that was truly awesome. So I've got to meet a couple, but still haven't got to meet as many as I'd like to. I've never met the Marcellus brothers yet, and I'm part of the Midas Touch Network. But hopefully, every time I go to California, I go to the northern part, and they're in the southern part. And so eventually, I'll have to hit the southern part of California just so I can say I did, and so I can shake their hands. And a huge shout out to the Midas Touch Network. I'm very humbled and proud to be part of it. And I told them, I sent them a text last night in their group text, and I was like, guys, win or lose, we were on the right side of history, and I couldn't think of a better group of guys to be doing this alongside of. I don't know if Ben Marcellus ever sleeps. I sometimes wonder, because a lot of times that group chat we have is the first thing I talk to in the morning and the last thing I talk with before I go to sleep. And it doesn't matter what time a day or what time zone I'm in, they're always there. They're always doing it. So huge shout out to them for that. They definitely have put in the work, and I know so many of y'all have. It's not just people like us that does content on YouTube. It's everybody getting out there and pounding on doors and knocking on doors and getting the word out and just standing up for the truth and democracy. And I've never in my lifetime felt like that that democracy was on the line like it is now. In the past we've voted on different issues. I've went to the polls with one issue in my mind, This time around, it's democracy and it's women's rights. That's right there. They're just sitting side by side. I never thought we would be here. But this is what happens when you end up giving a celebrity apprentice host, keys to the kingdom. This is what happens when you think it's a good idea to elect a celebrity. They don't know how to operate the system. The people that votes for them doesn't know how the system works. So you just got a double whammy there. For those of you that remember that show, you just got a double whammy of stupidity. And that's the thing too that I really wanted to talk about. I was thinking about it earlier before I sit down and do this live, and I probably will do a full-length video on this eventually. But I have never in my lifetime seen someone run a more stupid campaign than Trump. It's the stupidest campaign I've ever seen. He's just thriving on chaos and thriving on division and thriving on hate. But it's stupid. And it shows that people that are supporting him have never really followed politics or understands it, because anybody that's ever followed politics for 5 minutes would know that in a race for office, whatever you're running for, you need to appeal to people who don't necessarily see eye to eye with you. You need independents. You need moderates to win. That's just common knowledge. But in their mind, they don't. They don't need it. They think he can go out there and piss off and threaten everybody, and somehow that will be he'll be rewarded for that, and that will be a win. And so it just, when someone is out there at this point in 2024, right now, today, November 5th, 2024, the people out there still flexing for Donald Trump, they don't know politics. They have no clue how it works. They have no clue how the government works, and that's not me being condescending. It's just, it shows. I mean, it's painfully obvious. They've got upset at some of the things we've called them, but that's just because they acted that way. It's not like the last thing I would ever want to do, if I'm being brutally honest. I didn't want to for the longest time. I did not want to accuse a fellow American of being in a cult. I didn't want to do it. I didn't like doing it. Ended up writing a song called "You Might Be in a Cult," but I never wanted to do that because I never wanted to have to say that. But when you see someone manipulating a crowd the way he is, and just continues to do so, and you see them falling for it, and you see all the evidence coming right in their face, and they won't accept it. They're just blind allegiance to him. And when someone steps out of line with him, he sends the rest of the people after him. It mirrors any Jim Jones documentary or any David Koresh documentary that you've ever watched. It's the same thing. I never wanted to call them a cult, but that's what it ended up being. I never wanted to say that they resembled the Nazi rally in 1939, but that's what it ended up being in Madison Square Garden. And that ain't us turning up the temperature in the room. It's just pointing out the obvious. It's like, hey, look, this is what they're doing. This is what they're saying. Oh, he didn't mean it that way. You took it out of context. He was just joking. You don't joke when it comes to democracy, and you don't joke when it comes to threatening your political opponents. And here's my point. I always go back to this. Try that on for size. I think everyone that votes for Trump today should have to try his act on for size and see how far they get. They have to be truly dedicated to it. They can't just say they vote for him. They can't just put a sign in their yard or a bumper sticker or fly a flag off their trailer. No, actually go out there and live it. Go to work, walk in, talk to the women the way that he does. Just walk up and say that you can grab them anywhere you want to and they'll let you do it. You'll wind up in the office. You'll probably get wrote up for it. If it happens more than once, you're probably going to end up being fired pretty quickly. Go into work. Tell them you're going to throw away the handbook. You don't need it. You need immunity to be able to do your job. Tell that to your boss. Say that. And go in and refer to people as garbage. Start threatening fellow employees and see how well it works for you. It wouldn't. They wouldn't last 5 minutes doing his act in their world. So why in the hell are they voting for him? You know, none of the things he does would fly anywhere any of us worked. It would never work out. I've seen people get fired for way less in places. I've seen people get fired for, being late a couple of times. Boom, you're done. Last time I'm telling you, you're out the door. I mean, I can think back on stories of people that I thought was fired for reasons like, they might should have deserved a second chance on that one, but they didn't get it. And here this guy has got chance after chance after chance after chance. It's been absolutely ridiculous watching it. But it's ridiculous. You would not get away with his act anywhere else. Trying to catch these comments. They're flying by. Again, shout out to Jess and the Vol Queen for moderating. It's a hell of a crowd. But it's election day. It's 2024. And so we're here. And I hope everyone is having a good morning or good evening now. Well, it might be morning depending on where you're sitting. My friends out in California, it's still morning to you. So, but yeah, man, thank you guys so much for being part of what I do and subscribing and coming along on this ride with me. Never would have thought if you'd asked me on election day back in 2020, if I'd be sitting in a chair like this doing content like this with a YouTube channel with 337,000 subscribers, I'd have said there ain't no way in the world. I would have never thought I'd be here, but here we are. And so we just got to keep putting in the work and moving forward. And I'll say one thing. I've been saying this all along. I've been saying that no matter what, we're on the right side of history, and that's obvious. But another thing is I really feel that we're going to have to continue to put the work in long after this is over. I've had people say to me, well, what's going to happen when Trump loses and you ain't got, what's your content going to be about, man? Because he's clickbait. People will click on, thumbnails with his face on it because they want to see what you're going to say about him. That dude really ain't going nowhere. We're going to be talking about him for a long time, and the damage that he did and the effects that he had on our country is going to be talked about for years to come. And we're going to have to put the work in to make sure we save democracy again, because if you think Project 2025 is going away, it's not. We're just going to be kicking the can down the road tonight. But we're going to have to stay focused. And I will say this to anyone on the left, because I really feel like if I had any criticism for the left, this would be it. Don't get complacent when we win. Don't take your eye off the ball just because we win. And don't rest on your laurels and go, oh, we got this, it'll be okay. No, you got to vote in every election. You got to always be there. The energy you have today, you have to keep it going forward, because you're going to see other people try to rise up and run against Kamala. You could very well see J.D. Vance try to take a stab at it. I still think that guy's a lunatic. And he's easily bought and manipulated and paid for. So that's a young puppet right there, man. That's one that could be around for a long time. So we're just always going to have to keep our eyes on the ball. We're always going to have to keep this energy that we have today. There's been so many times, I feel like when the left loses elections, it's because they ain't together. I feel like we're together on this one. We're not divided like 2016. We're not upset over the nominee being someone else. We're all behind Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and we're united. And what differences we have, we know we can work it out amongst ourselves. It's okay to have differences amongst ourselves. It's okay to disagree on certain things. We're not always going to see eye to eye. But when people start telling me that they don't believe in democracy, I've had people that I used to love and respect say to me, well, democracy is just an idea, man. We're a constitutional republic. The minute they start saying that stuff, whatever respect I had starts going out the window, because when someone says to me, I shouldn't have to live under a democracy because I want my way to be the way to go. That's not what we were founded on. But someone just said we are together, and you're right. We are together, and we're going to be all right. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. My son's playing Xbox in the background. If you hear a kid getting really excited, he's either playing Superman or the WWE, and he gets really upset if he gets pinned. So I pinned him earlier. I made the mistake of just not letting my kid win one. He had won one ever since he had been here. I hadn't beat him yet, and we was having a really good one going back and forth. I was Randy Orton. He was Kevin Owens. I hit an RKO out of nowhere that was so beautiful. I was like, I got to pin his ass. So he cried for a little bit, but he got over it. And that's how Trump supporters are going to have to be. They're going to have to go ahead and cry, get it out of their system, and then they're going to have to get over it and move on and try again later. Yeah, someone said, will I be going live later? Yeah, I'm sure I will. I'm not sure the exact time yet, but stay posted here on YouTube and wherever you follow me on social media, and I'll be sure to post where I'll be. So yeah, we will go live again later. But like I said, I'm just not exactly sure on the time just yet. But we'll see how the day goes. Me and the coach, I'll be honest with you guys, we've tried to weasel out of going live on election night. And the only reason being is we just were like, we're going to be a ball of nerves. Are we going to be able to sit in front of a screen and talk? And then so many of my friends started making the comment of like, well, you got to, you win, lose, or whatever. You've got to be there for us. And then I was like, okay, now you've made a point that I can't argue with, and so okay. But I'd say maybe a little bit later, when we see results starting to roll in, is when we'll go. And I'm not going to stream. I may stream some from the Midas Touch Network. They're going to be doing original content, by the way. I may share some of their feed into this one, but I won't be sharing any of the mainstream channels. I don't know. I don't understand, folks, how a lot of that stuff works. It's kind of odd how that, we use clips every day from CNN, Fox, MSNBC, mainstream news channels. We use that all the time. But like if, when it's a live debate or like a live kind of thing, sometimes they can claim copyrights on that. That's something we deal with here on YouTube. That's why a lot of times, in certain cases, I mute a clip because there's music playing behind it, or because sometimes I may put out a video and the video may be out for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden someone somewhere claims the clip. And you go through this appeal process where sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But I've had a couple where I've lost, and then the option is, okay, your video can stay up. It can't be monetized. If you want to monetize it, you have to trim that clip out. So if you've ever stumbled across the video where I said, roll the clip, and then it just came back to me, it's probably because I decided to go ahead and remove the clip just so that we could monetize the video and keep moving forward. Those things don't count as strikes on your channel, but now sometimes if you host certain live events, it can. So if I borrow from anybody tonight during the live stream, it'll be the Midas Touch Network. They're going to be doing original content. They're not going to be streaming from the mainstream sources either. And so that's where we will be. So it'll just be a little bit later tonight. I'm excited to be back with you, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Now, if you haven't already, be sure and hit that subscribe button, folks. We are at 337, and hell, it just jumped like 100 since I've been sitting here. But we're at 337,435 subscribers. And it was like 300 something a minute ago. So people's definitely listening, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys doing it. I'm going to write down that number, and we'll just check in on it every now and then. But if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button. It just lets you know when I put videos out. Someone said they shared. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for the comments. If you feel like leaving a comment, go for it. If not, leave a blue dot if you feel like that. If not, just sit back and enjoy the show. I'm not up here trying to grift you a Bible or a pair of sneakers. I don't actually own a pair of sneakers. I got some worn out boots, but I'm not going to grift them. But I don't have no desire. I do have a lot of scammers out there these days. There's so many fake Tennessee Brando pages. It's unbelievable. And I've tried so hard to report them and get them out there. I saw a comment that cracked me up, but the Brando Bible, yeah, that would be interesting. But I've had so many people come up with these fake accounts, and I've tried reporting them, and it doesn't do any good. But I've had friends message and say, "Hey, man, are you giving away a guitar? Are you raffling off an amplifier?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not doing any of those things." So I have my official accounts, and that's where I'm at. And this is my official YouTube channel. This is where I'm at. I'm waiting on the blue check mark from Instagram and Facebook. I'm on the waiting list, whatever the hell that means. Maybe when that happens, that might cut down on some of the scams. But yeah, don't click on anything if you see someone out there telling you that I'm giving away something or trying to sell something, or they want your Venmo or your Cash App or your debit card. Don't click on any of that. That's not me. So yeah, I really appreciate it. Someone said, "Were you serious about a Trump calendar?" There really, I reckon there really was one that he put out. I think he put out a 2025 calendar. It's ridiculous. What won't the guy grift? It's crazy what he won't grift. It would be interesting. I don't know what I would sell if I was going to grift something. I don't know what it would be. I've never really thought about it. I've just never thought about what I would be on TV trying to sell. I mean, I've got a merch store. I appreciate everyone who's bought from it, but I don't know. I can't imagine just sticking my autograph on a pair of sneakers or a Bible, especially a Bible. That's so ridiculous. Trump is like the least biblical person. The guy couldn't name one book out of it. They even put him on the spot and he couldn't. They asked him to name his favorite verse, and he said, "Well, that's very personal to me." Do you know how many Christians, and this is no knock on any Christian watching this when I say it, but Christians love to flex about their Bible knowledge. I mean, that's just something they do. I can flex about mine. I can quote verses all day. I grew up in church. I can quote Bible. But Christians can't wait for the opportunity to quote a Bible verse. And when Trump's asked, he goes, "Oh, well, that's very personal. I don't really have a favorite. That's very personal. What's your favorite book?" "Well, I don't know." They asked him about the New Testament and Old Testament. Which one's the most important? He said, "Well, I think they're equal. I like them both." He doesn't know. He has no clue. I would love to interview him and just start talking about Jesus. I would. And I would like to corner him into saying that he likes saviors that don't get crucified. I believe I could get him to say it. I really do. Because all you would have to do is just kind of like, I mean, he could have came down off that cross and saved those people and stopped the steal. But he didn't. He just laid back. And I could almost get that guy to say that. And I believe if he did, his followers would still say, "Well, that's okay. That's acceptable." It's that crazy. It's that insane that's where we're at, that this guy still has that kind of mind control. And that's what it is. I mean, if you ever wondered what it was like for Charles Manson to have a Twitter account, this is it. If you ever wondered what it was like what would it have been like if the Manson family had actually had a YouTube channel? Well, you just look at MAGA. That's what it would have been like. Except, in all fairness, the Manson family did pay their debt to society. So hopefully we'll see Trump do the same one day. But sometimes here on the lives, we do kind of go sideways. We joked about it the last time. We started joking about the weave because we went off talking about other things and worked our way back around. But yeah, Trump and his weave. That's that has to be the thing. I don't know. If we made a Mount Rushmore of Trump's stupid moments, I think him saying the weave it's got to be considered. There's so much though. If you made a Mount Rushmore of the dumbest Trump moments, dang, we may have to put out a poll for that. Let's see what would be on the Mount Rushmore of Trump's stupid moments. I don't know if you could narrow it down to 4. And if you did narrow it down to 4, within a few minutes, someone would remind you of one that's worse than those 4, and you'd be starting all over. So I don't know if it's possible. But yeah, I hope everyone is doing well. All right. Finally got my volume turned up. When I first started, I'd been on a trip to California. I looked over at my mixer, and my volume wasn't even halfway up hardly. So that's one of the reasons why we had that. So I'm just checking in to make sure everything's going good. So yeah, hope everyone is having a good election day. We made it. We made it to election day 2024. And I'll be honest with you guys, back when I watched January 6th unfold, I never thought we would be here with Trump in a rematch. I really didn't. I thought that was the end of it. I thought that'll definitely be the end of this guy. He's been exposed now for who he truly is. So I really thought that that's what would happen. But here we are. And so we're going to have to make sure once and for all tonight he's defeated once and for all. And let him kick, let him scream, let him get upset, let him cry. I don't really care. That's the thing, folks. My mom said something a while ago in a joking way. The more I thought about it, the more I thought, no, it's actually kind of true, Mom. She said, I feel like he owes us some compensation. She said, I feel like we should be able to sue for the distress that he's caused. And I got cracked up and I laughed when she first said it. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, kind of got a point. But we've been gaslit now ever since he came down that escalator. He's gaslit us every step of the way. And it's just so tiresome. It's so tiresome being gaslit the way that we have been. I don't know about you guys, but I just hate it when someone insults my intelligence. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. And I'm not the smartest dude in the world. I just got average intelligence. I barely graduated from a poor high school in Southeast Kentucky. Okay, I'm not a genius by no stretch of an imagination. But it's like when someone tells me something so blatantly over the top stupid, and then stands there and tries to sell it to me. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. I'm like, just come up with something else, could you? Like, could you come up with anything else? Do you have to come up with something that easily debunked or that easily, exposed? But, we live in a world now where people, they go to the sources that, I feel like a lot of people are guilty of this. They go to the sources that best fits their preconceived notion of whatever it was they already thought. I know so many people that won't stop scrolling until they find the headline that comforts them and tells them what they thought was going on. Now, I don't have a problem being wrong about things. I've been wrong about a lot of things, and I've admitted it, and I've learned from it and moved on. And a lot of people I know a lot of people out there that views, if saying you made a mistake, they view that as weakness, or they view saying I was wrong as a weakness. I don't. To me, it actually shows strength that you can admit that out loud, that you can say, hey, I was wrong about that one. I've been wrong plenty of times in my life, and there's been times that people have put evidence in front of me. I didn't really like seeing it, to be honest. I was like, oh shit! I really thought I had that one figured out. I'll give you one example. I used to say this back when I was in my early 20s, after 9/11 happened and everything, and we saw gas prices start going up like we had never really seen before. I started buying into this idea that the president was in charge of gas prices. I was young. I didn't know anything about the gas and oil industry. And so I went around saying that for a while until one day my uncle caught me saying it and was like, hey, wait a minute. You don't really think George Bush he's not the guy that sets that. And he starts explaining it to me. He starts bringing the receipts. He starts putting the evidence right in front of my face. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't like seeing it because I was like, well, now I've been sitting here saying this for a long time. So then I had to pump the brakes and again go, all right, well, okay, you brought the evidence, you brought the truth. Now I just got to learn from it and move on. It's happened to me plenty of times. There's been, and I mean, there's been things I've bought into that ended up not being true. But no matter what happens tonight, MAGA's not going to believe it. They're not going to believe it because they've been trained not to. And I've yet to see any of them have that moment where they say, hey, you got us, or hey, we were wrong about that. Maybe it will start to sink in on some people, and we have seen some. There's been some people that I've covered here on the channel that walked away from MAGA in the final rounds. I guess it still could happen, and I hope it does. I hope there's people that wakes up tonight and finally comes to their senses. But yeah, someone said accepting your wrongs is not the end of the world. That's absolutely right. I'm going to go over here for a minute, and I'm going to try to. Normally now I bring these up on the screen, and I'll try to bring up a couple maybe, but we've got so many people that have became new members because we got a hell of a crowd in here. We got 3,200 people in here, so there's been a lot of people donate, a lot of people that have come out. So let's see. So I want to thank Fiat Last for becoming a new member. Thanks to Karen for becoming a new member. Also, thanks to Michael for the super sticker. I really appreciate that. Thank you to Matt's Record Collection for that. I really appreciate it. And recognize this name, been here before. Thank you for coming back. Spicy Jester, thank you for that. Scared out of my mind with the Supreme Court dismantling the Chevron dock and Elon Musk running business regulations and RFK running health. God help us. Well, I totally understand your concern. I really do. Donald Trump, if reelected, would put anyone in charge that just did his bidding, that just was a yes man to him. And RFK Jr. being over your daughter's future is one of the most terrifying things I've ever heard. It's absolutely ridiculous. I understand you have every right to feel scared, but I really believe we're going to have a decisive victory later, and I feel like that we're going to be okay. But we definitely got to keep focused at all times because these people aren't going to go away. They're always going to be coming back. So this person here said, thank you so much to Caleb for this donation. Trump is banking Mike Johnson's secret plan, 12th Amendment for contingent election. That's why he's been so unhinged these last few weeks. And I've heard that argument a lot, and I understand it. But like I said a little while ago, I really feel like that, he couldn't get those things through when he was the sitting president. So I don't think he'll really be able to accomplish it as the challenger. But, let's hope that I'm not wrong on that one. So thanks, Caleb, for that. Also, shout out to, I believe that's Ganny for becoming a new member, and Lana for becoming a new member, and Bonnie. Thank you guys so much for joining up on the memberships. Also, thanks to Dances with Gerbils. Thanks for that. Ride the Blue Wave. Love your live sanity checks. Well, thank you for referring to it as that. These are my sanity checks too. Also, want to give a shout out, to Ganny for the donation. I'm a blue dot in Texas. Well, that's awesome. Glad you made it. Sharon, the polls will learn what we all see. They adjusted for the Trump effect, and Trump lost it. I really feel that the polls haven't been. I mean, the ones that tried to keep it close, I don't even really think that's accurate. And I think that's what's really going to be a shock to MAGA's system later, because they've just been buying into this idea. And can someone explain to me why that he tells his audience that he's ahead, but it's rigged and he's losing at the same time? It's like, I get it that he's going to try to say, well, I told you it was ahead, see, they rigged it. I understand that part. But again, when I said it was a stupid campaign, anybody in their right mind would at least try to say, get out and vote, get out and vote. He doesn't even do that. It's because, like the commenter said earlier, he's just banking on Mike Johnson ripping something out of his ass. But, also thanks to Out Alive for becoming a new member. Thanks to Daggett for gifting 5 Tennessee Brando memberships. Thank you to, I guess that's Jana. Thank you. Remember, the little boys can make babies that will sue them for support for 18 years of child support. So thank you for your donation. Let's see, where did I leave off? There's a lot of them in here today, and I really appreciate it. Like I said, thanks to Will Kent. I really appreciate you. Thank you for that. Also, thanks to Cindy Rice. You can slow the chat in live when you set it up for the night. Okay, I'll make a note of that. I actually just learned this. I'm still learning the ropes to all this, by the way. But I also learned how to, when I was uploading the videos, the live chat would disappear, and I would have people say, hey, where'd my comment go on that video? And I didn't realize that when I created the stream, that there was an option there to keep the live chat available after the fact. So once this video goes off and someone watches a replay, they'll be able to see that. So also want to thanks to Brandy. Vote blue for democracy, not red for insanity. That's a great way of putting it. Also, thank you very much for this, Helena. Hopefully I'm saying these names right. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for your donation. It's hard living in rural Alabama and feel hopeful about defeating Trump. I'm surrounded by MAGA daily. Thank you for being a place of hope. I really appreciate you listening, man. I feel the same way here in East Tennessee, man. I feel like East Tennessee and where you're at in Alabama, I'm sure we got a lot in common, and we could probably talk all day about it because I was out in California recently, and I was talking to some new friends that I made, and they were telling me about some red counties and red parts of California, and I said, well, you know what? You take the reddest county in California, and it still would feel progressive to people like us back here in East Tennessee, and I'm sure to you down in Alabama, it'd be like, dang, I mean, it's. I don't think people realize just how extreme it can be in these parts. That's why earlier when I talked about the Kamala sign being outside the school, I was like, dang, that's a big deal in our part of the world. I was seeing them all over in California, but here you don't see as many. But I have seen more, and in all honesty, I've seen more for Harris and Walls than I did for Biden or for Clinton or Obama. So I think that's a good sign. Also want to say thanks to Ken Hurd for the donation. Says, really appreciate your voice. I really appreciate you for listening. Also, thanks to Dave Wilson. To be honest, I definitely buy a Brando capo for my guitar. Well, maybe we'll have to come up with a Brando capo. That would be pretty cool. I've had guitar player friends in the past say that using a capo is cheating. I've never understood that philosophy. Because a capo just opens up different worlds to different sounds. You throw a capo on the 5th fret and play an A minor. What you got then? A D minor, but it sounds totally different. It gives you a totally different tonal sound. So I've never understood the ones like, oh, you're cheating using a capo. it's you're playing music. You're not. It's like you make the sound however you want to make it. Also want to say thanks to Krista for the membership for 5 months. It's my man's 41st birthday today and our anniversary tomorrow. Well, I really hope you guys have a great one. I really do. Also, thank you so much to Colleen for your donation. Says thank you for being factual, real voice, and sharing it with us. Well, I appreciate that, and thanks for listening. Also, thanks to Kim. Shout out to my friend out in California. I really appreciate you and everything. Shout out to Alan, who's watching as well. I really appreciate you guys so much for your friendship and everything. And you're right. We got this. She said something while I was out there. At one point, we were all just sitting there kind of, starting to get a little nervous, starting to get a ball of nerves. And Kim was like, we're going to be okay no matter what. And I was like, yeah, we will be. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Also, thanks to Jeanette for the super sticker. Truly do appreciate that. Thanks to Richard Clark for that. Always remember that even after Kamala and Coach wins, remember not all the nuts get put in the candy bars. Great point. We'll keep putting the fight in for sure. Also, shout out to David Roberts, who gifted 5 Tennessee Brando memberships. To Shayton, became a member, and to Tone, I hope I'm saying that right, gifted 1 Tennessee Brando membership. Appreciate that. Thanks to Jacqueline for becoming a new member. Also, thanks to Murray for the donation and your comment. I really do appreciate you so much. Thank you to Rainy Days. Thank you so much for that super sticker. Thank you to Tease a Diva for that one. Really do appreciate all this so much. Thank you, Brando. Voted here in Vegas. That's awesome. Thank you, Jennifer, for that. Let's see. I'm trying to keep up with these. You guys are pouring them in. I can't pronounce that name, but thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate you. Thanks to Pauline, and yeah, John Brado came out to my house. We had a great time here together. Awesome time. Also, shout out to Kathleen, who just became a new member. And then thanks to Lori in Florida for this. I'm in Florida, so I've been, I don't know how to pronounce that word, with Trump and DeSantis. I desperately want to feel joyful tonight. I understand. I'm here. I feel your pain because I'm here in Tennessee with Bill Lee, Marsha Blackburn, who we're hoping loses her seat in the Senate tonight to Gloria Johnson. We're really wanting to see Gloria pull that one out, and I would love to see Tim Burchett go. I know that feeling of being in a red state with some total loons. So hopefully Tennessee will send Marsha Blackburn packing tonight. I really hope so. If I didn't already, let me say again, a shout out to Kathleen and shout out to Karen, who gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much to LB for the donation. And let's see, thank you so much to Audrey. Hi, Brando. French here. That's awesome. We hope for a landslide of blue votes today. The Orange Nightmare shall be over soon. Well, thank you so much for listening in from France, and I'll try to pick back up. I'll try to pick back up here soon and pick up where I left. A minute. Thank everybody, man, because you guys, when you send in your donations, your comments, I just really like to pull them up and acknowledge them and let you guys know that I truly do appreciate you guys for your support and helping me do what it is that I do. So, yeah, thank you guys for being with us. We'll go a little bit longer today, and then I'll be back a little bit later tonight, and we'll see how it goes. Coach D will probably be here with me, and so yeah, it's going to be a nail biter. It is going to be a nail biter, but we will make it, folks. I really believe that we can, and we will. I got to see Kamala while I was out in California. I rode over to Reno, Nevada. If Alan's still listening at this point, I'm going to confess something. You got to understand that, like, in my part of the world, everybody drives slow. Okay, like people around here just creep. I mean, they do compared to California. So you get out there, and I don't mean this as a knock on California in no way, but there's just not really common courtesy. Like in this part of the world, if you come up to an intersection and somebody's needing to go, somebody like, go ahead, buddy. It's just like, hey, you're like waving at people in your yard. Everybody's just sitting around going slow. And you get out there, and it's just like balls to the walls. In my mind, it's like, whoa, I'm on a spaceship. And so I'm sitting there the entire time that I'm riding with Alan, and I'm going, he's lived here his whole life. This is his world. Just enjoy the ride. But when we went to Reno going through that snow, there was a couple of times where I was like, whoa. I was like, I mean, we're on the mountain there at Lake Tahoe, and we're looking over the side, and I'm like, yeah, just buy the ticket, take the ride, Brando. And there's a couple of times I kind of pretended like I was taking a nap because I was like, damn, we're on fire. But we made it over to Reno and got to see Kamala Harris. And Alan's a hell of a driver, by the way. He's great. But I can tell you that just riding with him taught me that I would never be able to drive in California. I've had people say, move to California. I will have a very expensive Uber bill if I do. If I were to move to California, I would just probably live somewhere where I could just walk downstairs and like maybe live over on like Haight Street where I could just come down the stairs and just walk out and be like, hey, everything right there where I need it. Because I would have a pretty high Uber bill. God, driving across like the Golden Gate or the Bay Bridge, yeah. I mean, those bridges out there, we got a bridge around my part of the world. Anybody that's watching, if Sarita makes it now, she'll know where I'm talking about. We've got a bridge over North Lake. We call it the 33 Bridge. That thing looks like something my kids would play with next to the Bay Bridge. It looks like a little train set that my kids would have down on the floor compared to that. So, yeah. But I got sidetracked talking about getting scared shitless a couple of times. But no, going over to Reno to see Kamala when we got there, man, the energy was just so off the charts for her. The love was in the room for real. It wasn't, Trump says a love fest at his, rallies is ridiculous. It truly was. There was people from all walks of life. Saw several people carrying around Puerto Rican flags. I do believe that old Tony Hinchcliffe is definitely going to probably be blamed for years to come, and good on him. You know what I mean? Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I'm actually glad he went ahead and said it, because look, that dude, if you go back, there's a Midas Touch article. Go to MidasNews.com. You can read it about Tony Hinchcliffe and all of his racist and just homophobic tweets that he's made over the years and all the jokes that he's made. If he was going to do it, by all means, do it on a Trump stage. Go ahead. Just go ahead and do it and make a complete fool out of him. And if that's the straw that breaks the camel's back, then fine. But we did see a lot of Puerto Rican flags there and stuff, and so that was cool. But the energy for Kamala was just off the charts. She came out. She didn't ramble on for 3 hours. She didn't sit and talk about batteries and sharks and Hannibal Lecter. She gave a clear-cut message and left us wanting more. And, when it was over, I was like, well, that was shorter than I expected, but she didn't leave anything out. I mean, I would like, hey, wait a minute. And the ones that says, explain yourself. When has Trump ever explained himself? I saw a meme the other day that was so stupid I had to walk outside and just take a deep breath. But it said, no matter how much you hate him, it won't make her qualified. And I'm like, really? Like, someone actually posted that? Like, really said that out loud? So explain to me then how Trump was ever qualified to do anything. Because we've learned here in just recent years, or recent weeks, not years, just recent days, we've learned that he couldn't be a fry cook at a McDonald's. We've also learned that if he gets a garbage truck, they chauffeur him around in the garbage truck. How's he qualified for anything, and how the hell is she not? And why is it that we live in a world where a woman has to go above and beyond to prove she's qualified, and this doofus, this complete unhinged moron, they think he does a better job of explaining than she does? She needs to explain herself more. Huh? Really? I stood there in Reno. She didn't have to explain herself any further. I got it. It made perfect sense. Hannibal Lecter and my uncle at MIT makes me smart. There's nothing experienced or intelligent about that. It's just dribble. It's just a stupid person making other stupid people feel better about themselves. That's all it is. And I know there's people that say, well, Brando, don't call them stupid. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being ignorant. Ignorance can be fixed. Ignorance can be corrected, okay? Stupid is forever. It's like, it really is. The comedian Ron White, had the whole bit about you can't fix stupid. And you just can't. It's just forever. And he's just a stupid dude that makes stupid people feel smart. And we got to put an end to that. We really do. We got to put an end to that, and we got to get back to having conversations about the issues at hand without having the unhinged conspiracy theorists just throwing stuff at the wall and hope that it sticks. It doesn't make it right. I always tell people, no matter how many times they flex in your comment section, it doesn't make it right. No matter how many links to different, QAnon websites they send you to, it doesn't make it true. So, yeah, someone said that Trump still hadn't paid for his 2020 rallies. Yeah, we was looking into that, and there was it Albuquerque, I'm pretty sure, that wouldn't let him have a rally there because he already owed for the previous one he did. So, yeah, the dude's a total joke. But I really hope that everyone is doing good. And we'll be back. I'll go a few minutes over than I normally I just go an hour, but since we're having a good time and there's a crowd in here, we'll go a few minutes longer. And then I will be back later tonight, and hopefully we'll be celebrating and having some good news rolling in. I've had people ask me if I'm worried about what's going to happen in the aftermath. I mean, yes and no. Like, I hate to see anything happen. I don't want to see anything happen. But at the same time, I think we're better prepared this time. Joe Biden's the sitting president. So I think we're going to be okay. And also, can we just for a second talk about Joe Biden? Because, once Kamala stepped forward, everybody put their attention on her, and rightfully so. She's definitely about to be the next president of the United States. But, Joe Biden, I think, is very underappreciated. I know you guys don't necessarily underappreciate. I don't mean that, but I'm just saying his whole presidency has been overshadowed by Donald Trump and his stupidity. And he's been an effective president. He got a whole lot of stuff accomplished in his 4 years. He's passing the torch. He passed the torch at the right moment. He didn't put himself over his party. He put his country first. And so, we just got to give him just a huge thanks, and for being that guy, for being that transition that we needed, handing it over to the next generation. And we've got a lot of good people on the left. We really do. We have Kamala Harris and Tim Walz right at the top, and you got people like Pete Buttigieg. You have Jasmine Crockett. You have AOC. You have Gavin Newsom. There's so many. You have Andy Beshear out of Kentucky, somebody that I really think could be a future contender. There's so many good voices out there that I think our party's going to be okay. It's the other side that's going to have to do a lot of rebuilding and rebranding, and we will see how that goes. So also want to pick up real quick here and say thanks to LB for his donation. If I might have said that one already, but anyway, thanks again, LB, for that. Thanks to Karen, who gifted 5 Tennessee Brando memberships. Mr. Funny Guy, thank you for yours. Said, what do you think about Alan Lichman's prediction? I don't know if I've heard that one. And then thanks to the Drunken Monkey for your donation. Brando, your voice is calming. Thank you. Well, thank you for listening. I appreciate that. So, hope everybody's doing good. It's election day. It's we made it. It's funny, like all year long. Well, not just this year. For years now, I've been doing this kind of content, and thinking about this day, in the front of my mind, like it's gonna come eventually, and then it started being like, oh crap, it's 2024, we're headed into that year, and then oh dang, it's summertime, and then there was a moment there right before Biden dropped out. The Supreme Court gave Trump immunity for official acts or president's immunity for official acts, and that was pretty scary. And you had the RNC and all the stupidity they put on display, and everything that happened, and then Joe drops out and Kamala steps forward, and it's like, whoa, business just picked up. But it has been absolutely, I'll talk about this before we go. It has been so great watching Donald Trump unravel. And I really believe when we look back at this years from now, we're going to look back at this and realize that she absolutely broke his brain when she talked about his crowd size. She absolutely broke his brain with that. And we've talked before about, oh, she baited him into it. Yeah, she definitely baited him. Don't get me wrong. She baited him right into that. But it was so masterful on her part. And it just destroyed him. He's never been able to come back from it. And when I woke up this morning, I saw a video from Luke Beasley. And he was talking about, and then Adam Mockler, I think, made one too, about Trump's crowd sizes are shrinking. And the video Luke did was showing how that, there was a lot of empty seats in North Carolina. And then these right-wing pundits are trying to spin that like, oh, well, everybody's already early voted. They're so excited about this. They don't want to see him again. They've seen him so many times, they don't want to see him again. And they're the very people that demonized early voting all this way. Let me see. I'll just catch a text here. Okay, I know who you're talking. I didn't recognize that name, so my friend Kim pulled me out of the fire here. Alan Lickman. I didn't catch that name. I didn't recognize it, or maybe I just read it wrong. But yeah, he's the guy that has like predicted all of them for forever, and he's predicted a Harris win. I think he's right, and I just I feel good about it, folks. I do. I feel good about it. I feel hopeful. And like I said, when I woke up this morning and saw that video from Luke, I was like, and the fact that right-wing pundits were then trying to spin it into, oh, well, they're so excited they've already early voted. They didn't come to the rally. It's like, that's great. Yeah. And just the stuff he says, but that really broke his brain. It really did. It just destroyed him, because that's what he's about. He's always about ratings. He's always about numbers. He's always about popularity. He don't give a damn about none of us. He never has. He don't give a damn about his most loyal supporters. I don't even think he gives a damn about the people right there in his inner circle. I truly believe he would throw his kids under the bus in a heartbeat. I don't think he would blink. If and I would love. I mean, that would be hilarious. Can you imagine if can you imagine if all of a sudden Don Jr. was just come out and say, "I'm sick of this shit." I've been. I mean, imagine if he did. I mean, I don't think that he would, but. Just imagine if he did. I really think Trump would toss him under the bus in a minute. Well, you're probably not even mine. I could just so see it. He has no regard for no one. It's all a popularity contest to him, and it's just pretty ridiculous, honestly. It's ridiculous that we're even still here. But, yeah, I really do appreciate everyone for tuning in today. Hope everyone is doing well. We've had a great time here so far. And like I said, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Let's see how many we gained since I said that last. Wow, folks. We gained over 150 just since I said that last, because, yeah, that's awesome. So we're still at 337,000 subscribers, but we went from 435 to 592. So that's like 100 and something. I can't do math. Like I said, I did graduate from a pretty poor school in Southeast Kentucky, which it wasn't their fault all the way. What happened to me back in school, if I'm just being brutally honest, I was a history buff, so I read my history books. I studied history. I was the kid that used to go to the library during lunch and read. And the kids used to make fun of me for that. They'd come in, what you were reading for? It's kind of that, if you ever heard the Bill Hicks skit where what you were reading for, I've lived that. That was me. I was always reading about history and studying history, But I started playing music. I got bit by the music bug, and all I wanted to do was just get out of school and play music. So I just did the bare minimum to pass and get out the door, and and math was never my strong suit. It really wasn't. I'll tell you a funny story. Back in high school, we had this teacher that came from, I can't remember what state he came from, but he wasn't from the South. He wasn't. I think he was like the Northeast somewhere, maybe like Vermont or Delaware or somewhere like that. But anyway, he comes down. He's a teacher. He looked just like Dave Thomas from the Wendy's commercials. Like the Wendy's founder, Dave Thomas, looked just like that dude. And so he comes down and he's going to teach us, hillbilly kids some math, Well, they put me in this class, and this guy's way of teaching was he just paired two kids up with each other. He's just like, hey, everybody get in a pair. And he paired me up with the smartest girl. This girl went on to be like the valedictorian, okay? He pairs me up with her, and I just sat beside her for the whole semester just copying her answers because I didn't know what I was doing. And that was his style of teaching. It was like, hey, you guys partner up and work on your work together. Well, I drew the I drew the lucky straw. And so I passed that class with flying colors. I had straight A's in it. I didn't have straight A's in it, but I got them off of her. And so the next year they advanced me up a level. And he actually ended up getting let go. I can't remember what he did. Maybe that's what he did. I don't know. But they ended up letting him go. He wasn't back the following year. And so now I go up to this advanced style of math that this smart girl helped me get to. And they learned real quick that I was a lost ball in high weeds. All of a sudden it was like, whoa. Like, you done great last year. How do you? They literally called me into the office, and they said, "How do you go? This was a hard, class to pass. How did you go from making straight A's in that class to making D's and F's? What did you do?" And I said, "Well, the teacher paired me up with the smartest girl in the school, and I just worked with her, got the answers." So, math has never been my strong suit. I don't know if that's why they let the guy go, but they're like, oh, God, we're experiencing this a lot with this dude. Why did he do that? It didn't work. But here's the difference, between me and Trump supporters. I didn't go out there and flex. And I would tell anybody that asked, like, I suck at math. I'm just sitting beside Mary. I never said, I'm the best at math. I have the best numbers. I never said that. I knew better because I knew if someone ever questioned me one step past Mary and I was screwed. So I think that was my sophomore year, I think. Old Dave Thomas from Wendy's, man. That's what'll get you. I called him Dave Thomas once to his face, and he almost made me write his name. He was like, don't ever do that again. My name's Mr. Richardson, I believe it was. But one time I had to write a theme in school because I had a teacher. I love this dude. And he didn't realize at the time, he was actually a pretty big influence on me. He was my history teacher, and that's the class I paid attention to and really zoomed in on and zeroed in on. He would recommend books for me to read in the library, and I'd go check them out. But man, this guy was a dead-on ringer for Danny DeVito. Looked exactly same height, same build, everything. Boom, spot on Danny DeVito. And I made the mistake once of calling him Danny DeVito, and he made me write Mr. Baker like 1,000 times. So, yeah. But I didn't cry and say that it was rigged. I just did it and went on. So, it happens. But anyway, before I go, we're going to have to weave and get back here. We're going to have to do the weave and bring it back from me flunking at math and get back to where we were. So, thank you guys for bearing with me. I appreciate your all's support. I also want to say thanks to the Bit Poet here for the donation. No matter the outcome, thanks for fighting the good fight, Brando. Well, thanks for fighting it along with me. I really appreciate it. Also to Jenna, good luck. Love your channel from Europe. Hope Harris wins. Awesome. The last time someone like Trump won in Europe, my country got invaded and lost family in camps. Yeah, and that's what so many of us have been so afraid of over here. I see so many people from other parts of the world that are watching this. It's not just America that's watching tonight. There are so many people watching, and I really truly appreciate that comment from Jenna Trans Girl there. That is we're all concerned about that, and we're trying to stay positive, and we're trying to get through this today. But we all realize the serious nature of it, and so thank you so much for that comment. Also, thanks to Griftless for donating 5 memberships. Thanks to JD for this. Truly appreciate it. I was looking for your bandana watching Brandon. Awesome. And shout out to Sarah. It was great meeting you out in California. She just became a new member. Thank you so much for that. And thanks to Ken Hurd, who just gifted One Tennessee Brando membership. So, yeah, I've slacked just a little bit on the members only content because I was out of town and had some things going on, but I'm going to get back in the saddle with those. We have a lot of fun on the members only. A lot of times what my members only content ends up becoming, first of all, everybody gets the videos early. So you'll get them a couple hours. Sometimes I'll set them to come out that night, and you're going to get them, the night before they actually hit the YouTube. So that's one of the features. But a lot of times my content ends up being like afterthoughts that I have after I get done making my video. I'll say to myself, dang, I'll be like, dang, I should have said that. And that's what ends up being my members only content. We also, I read from Hillbilly Elegy. And if you guys are wondering why I stopped, man, that book sucks. I should have just did a follow-up on it. I got about halfway through it. We got about halfway through it reading it. I read it once before and thought it sucked before he ever become the VP nominee. I hated the book when it first come out. It's even worse reading it again now with you hear JD's voice when you read it. So it's even worse. And to be honest with you, I got about halfway through it and I went, I can't take this shit anymore. It's just, it's painfully boring. He starts off the book talking about how, no one would want to hear me write a book or read a book I wrote. And I'm like, you should have just listened to yourself, dude. Cause yeah, you're right. We don't want to hear it. It's terrible. But, yeah, that was some of my members only content for a minute anyway. But, so yeah, again, shout out to Sarah, shout out to Ken. That's where we left off. Angie, thank you for your donation. Carl, thank you for yours. I don't know how to pronounce this name, but, love you. Keep strong, everyone. We'll get through this. Thank you so much for that. And thanks to Rachel for becoming a new member. I truly appreciate all you guys so much. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and get out and vote for sure. If you've not already, get out and vote. Vote on the side of democracy, vote on the side of women, vote on the side of your daughter's future. I truly appreciate all of you for tuning in here right now today. I'm going to go ahead and go for now. I got to run a few errands, and I got to take my son home here in just a little while. And then I'll be back later tonight, folks. And let's just keep our fingers crossed for a landslide. I would love to see just a really good, solid, decisive Kamala Harris victory. We know they're going to kick. We know they're going to scream. They're going to whine, complain. They're going to do all that, and that's okay. Let them go ahead. Let them throw their temper tantrums if they need to. But we'll drag them one way or the other across the finish line and save American democracy. And thanks to everyone for watching from other countries. Thank you for caring about our democracy. We care about you, and we don't ever want to see democracy fall. That's why we're fighting so hard for it. So again, everybody stay safe. Be safe out there wherever you go. Don't start drinking too early. Stay hydrated. You're going to need it. And we'll get over the finish line. But I really appreciate you guys so much for being here. I'll leave this chat open for the chat will be now on the live video once it processes. But I'll leave my studio here open for just a minute. That way I can, if anyone else comments after the fact, I can thank you guys for everything. I really appreciate all your support. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Yeah, oh hell, we went from 33,700 up to 652. So we've sat here and we've gained over 200 subscribers since we sat here. So that's truly awesome. If you haven't already, hit it. And that way you'll be notified as to when I'm coming back later. I'll post here on YouTube and wherever you follow me on social media. Be sure to tune in for that. We'll be back. I'll probably have Coach D with me. May invite some more friends to come along for the ride. We'll just have our own support group here, and we'll get through it. No matter what happens, always remember we are on the right side of history. That's not a flex. That's a fact. We're on the right side of history, and years from now, people's going to look back at this time and remember that, hey, there was some people that wouldn't let go of democracy because they believed in it. So you guys hang in there, and I'll see you guys later tonight.